Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Us, a show dedicated to bringing real help to real couples. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, guys? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and together we are high-performance marriage coaches.
We are cutting through the bullcrap and creating a movement of happy, healthy, badass couples all over the world.
Let's go! What's up, guys? This is Anatomy of Sex. This is a free episode. If you want more episodes like this, where we talk about sex, we take listener questions, and we take a deep dive into sex, intimacy, connection, and pleasure, go to patreon.com/anatomy of us to get more episodes. It's $6.90 freaking cents a month. Are you kidding? People pee that away every single day.
Okay.
Patreon.com/anatomy of us. Free episode, Anatomy of Sex. Let's go.
All right. So here's the question. It says, my husband and I, generally speaking, have a great sex life. We have sex multiple times a week and sometimes multiple times a day. But if I'm not in the mood and I turn him down, he tells me that I am becoming unattractive to him because of my rejection. So I have a lot of thoughts about this. Number one, like, good job having a healthy sex life. I think that that's good if it's something that's life-giving to both of you.
Connection and
That's
pleasure.
great. But gets a little sideways with the if I'm not in the mood and I turn him down, he tells me that I am becoming unattractive to him. That's a hard one there. That's a really I'm going to say the word manipulative, but I don't mean it that way because I'm assuming that this person is not trying to do it on purpose. Will you knock on the window? The dogs are digging a hole in the yard. Sorry, but our dogs are tearing our yard up. They look up like, what? But that's my fear, is that your husband probably doesn't know he's doing that and that doesn't realize it's manipulative and doesn't realize how harmful it is.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that right out of the gate? On all of that stuff?
Okay. Do I... Super weird analogy. Do I... not like my car if it doesn't start?
Or have gas in it?
Oh, this car is stupid. It's unattractive. I feel dumb driving it. No, not really. It's just a signal to my car needs something from me in order to run, which it does, oil, gas, whatever, right? And also, I'm personifying a car right now. Maybe the car is tired. We just went on a long road trip. Let's rest. You know
Maybe
what I'm saying?
It's bad driving conditions.
It doesn't want to start. It knows better than to drive right now, or it just doesn't want to. Hey, dude, you drove me yesterday to 500 miles.
Right.
Give me a break, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So would I think of my car as unattractive, not a good car, not reliable because it's gotten me a zillion places before, right? So this in my mind is, which, dude, I get it, okay? If like we're all hot and bothered and like, oh, we thought about it and putting the moves on and you say, not right now. It is a letdown. It is, I would have preferred to have sex, right? Just like if you went to a restaurant and you thought about going to this restaurant for a long time. You looked at the menu. Oh, man.
That makes me think of the time we went to the Jamaican sandwich place. No, not Jamaican. It was
Paseos.
Paseos.
Downtown Seattle. They are nationally, they closed down. They were nationally known as actually having the number one best sandwich in the nation.
So we went there. On purpose.
We were with our friends. They were in front of us, ordered their sandwich, get up to the line. I would like the world famous sandwich, please. What do they say? We don't have any more sandwiches.
Your friend ate the last one.
So, was I disappointed? Yes. Did I say, this is stupid? You should know what you're doing, sandwich shop. You should have bread. Did it make the sandwich later that I went back and got taste less good or anything? No, but I was disappointed, right? So I want to be real, guy to guy. Dude, yes, I get it. That happens sometime. Now, it is a little short-sighted. It may be a little jumping the gun, immature even to be, I didn't get my way, you actually got uglier. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, the way you said that was so funny. You actually got uglier. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If that in this perspective, that does not make sense. And you may feel in the moment as remember, like in another podcast, we were talking about just straight biological stuff. Mm-hmm. That is it's an emotional disappointment. Mm-hmm. It is a sexual disappointment, obviously, which in turn is a biological disappointment.
Right.
The chemicals that were building up, instantly got stopped. And now, you
it's
kind of go
almost
down.
like they got rerouted to anger.
They got rerouted to
or frustration,
or the dopamine turned off, and now you're going down. Mm-hmm. So I get it. If you replaced the word, "Hey, you actually become less attractive," to, "Man, it's how I connect with you. I love connecting with you that way. I know we connect a lot sexually. Disappointed, but hey, I get it. Sometimes you don't want to. I love you. Let's have a sandwich." You see what I'm saying?
Not at Paseo.
Now, if it was put in that context rather than, "You disgust me," which I'm sure those words aren't used.
It's my favorite. If you talk like that, it's the funniest thing ever. Just like if we were at a dinner and you would
take a pause.
"You disgust me." It's so funny.
It's very Dwight Schrute-ish.
Right. I think something that stands out to me in this as well is that it sounds like, because again, this person is saying, like, we have a great sex life. You have sex very frequently, way, way, way more than the average. It sounds like, especially if it's like weeks in a row of sex almost every day. Mm-hmm. But what I'm hearing in this is that maybe there's a lack of knowing how to connect another way, a more holistic way. Imagine if let's just put it in really weird terms. Imagine if your wife, actually, we got an email about this the other day. We haven't answered this question yet, but what if your wife has spine surgery and can't have sex?
Sheesh.
Is she going to become just, the Grinch or like the Shrek? Is she just going to, in your opinion, she's just this disgusting, useless
ogre?
No, right? So let's maybe look at, why is it that this is the only way that I can feel truly connected with my wife? Maybe there's something else we can do. I don't mean sexually at all, but like some way to make it so that there's not just one way of connecting and there's several, right? Several, like, almost think of it like legs on a chair. Like if you have there are chairs that have like one little central stick and you have to balance on them though. You know what I mean? Like they require your actual human legs to hold up the other sides. But if you want a really sturdy foundation, you need other support systems, right? If sex is the only way that you feel seen, soothed, secure, and safe with your spouse, that's going to be a problem for a bunch of different reasons. It could be for health, or she may not be interested in that, or whatever. There's like a billion things that make that a non-stable, not sturdy table, right? So let's figure out what that might look like to sort of make those other elements of your relationship stronger. What can you, does that make sense?
Well, how about this? Don't say crap like that.
Well, first you gotta not feel that way though too. I mean, but yes, I agree.
So you identify the feeling and go, okay, man, you're having sex multiple times a week, like you said, which I don't know what the weekly average is, probably 1 to 2 times for like married couples.
Yes, it
I think.
is. I've looked it up.
So you are above average in that. And here's the thing. Sometimes things we become, not sometimes, it's the way that things happen. When we become accustomed to something, then anything less than that, we judge harshly, but we would have loved to have that 2, 3, 4, 10 years ago. Understand what I'm saying? So last year and this year, actually, you and I flew on separate occasions, right? You down to LA, me to Utah, right? I flew first class, right? We had some miles. I think every time you've been down there, I got first class tickets, right? That's nice.
It's really fun. Delta's food is jamming, man.
So the seats are bigger. Obviously, if you've flown first, then you know what I'm saying. So next time you fly, if for some reason we're in row 8 million, at the very back of the plane, right near the lavatory, you will have thoughts of something. Oh my gosh, right?
Unless Aaron's on that flight with me as a flight attendant.
Oh yeah, okay.
On Alaska, then I'll be happy.
That would be fun. However, if that was your first flight ever,
right,
or your second flight ever, you're like, man,
this is amazing.
This is cool. You wouldn't even think about the sneaky latrine right next to you. Oh man, this is so crazy. We're up 30,000 feet. How can this do this? Look at the views, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. You would think it's wonderful, right? So sometimes the standards that we work towards can, actually I was reading about this morning. When we have big goals and stuff, oftentimes when we hit those goals, we become deflated. And I think that's what I was saying about my last 8 or 9 or year, like we hit these goals that we were shooting for. And there was kind of a letdown in that. And I thought of this really cool thing. Okay, have a goal that's up here, but pretend like you already got this goal. And what is your next goal?
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of high achievers talk about that way. Hey, okay, we have this goal for X monthly revenue.
Did you listen to the Ed Milet Lewis Howes episode yet?
Yes, it was awesome.
Okay, yeah, they talk about that. Sorry.
Right. So oftentimes, I'm just putting it in perspective for this couple, specifically the guy. Dude, you're having an amount of sex with your wife that people would lose their brain over.
Most people couldn't imagine that amount of sex.
Understand what I'm saying? Like, even if sometimes it's twice a day, are you kidding? Like, you're like newlywed status. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. So you're up here. So don't for a minute take any of that for granted and go, hey, every time we do this is a gift, is a blessing, it's cool, it's great, it's connecting, all this stuff. So don't throw away something because there's one tiny mishap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't let your feelings override the facts. Remember, feelings aren't facts.
And I want to say too that
I'm talking to myself.
It'd be interesting. I agree. I think it was an interesting thought practice. What would it look like to honor your wife in her the times when she does not want to have physical intimacy like that? Now, maybe you guys could watch a movie and hold hands. I mean, there's a million other things you could do that aren't sexual in nature at all, but are still relational in nature. But I really want to have this thought experiment of what would it look like overall for the health and well-being of your entire relationship if you honored. Now, honor is an amazing word. I said this in previous podcast episodes. Honor is not the same thing as put up with. Honor is not the same thing as tolerate. Honor is not the same as like, oh, fine, I'll just deal with it. Honor is like, oh, I see that this is, yeah, of course I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't want to ask you to do something you don't want to do because I'm honoring you, right? It's a totally different thing. And I would be curious to see if the result of honoring the times of abstinence, for lack of a better word, would result in even better connection when connection happens again. And it probably would result in less abstinence. If your wife, I mean, unless you're forcing her to have sex, I hope that's not true. I don't think it's true. But if your wife enjoys sex with you, then clearly she wants to be having sex with you. And the times that she doesn't are kind of like outliers. They're like little blips, right? Even to her, if her standard is twice a day sometimes, that's a blip to her. So imagine that she may feel disappointed about this as well. Your disappointment on top of her disappointment is not happy. That's not the word I meant to say. It's not helpful, right? See what I'm saying?
Yeah. What if I was disappointed in you and I showed it? What would that make you feel?
Well, I'm going to use a really random example. Like, I'm not good at cooking. I'm getting better at it, but I didn't grow up in a house where I could cook things, but I can't make them taste amazing. And I'm after amazing
pizza roll.
Tasty. No, taco ring. That's the taco ring. Pampered Chef, I think. Taco ring. And then like Schwan Man frozen anythings. But so there have been times when we were first married. Now Seth's mother is basically Paula Deen. She cooks amazing food.
I don't know if people know who Paula Deen is.
Of course they know who Paula Deen is. Get out of town. This town, get out of it. Paula Deen cooks with just butter and lard, and it's so good. And so does Seth's mom. She's a lard chef.
A lard chef?
Chef de la lard. But anyway, when we were first married, Seth's expectation was that I would cook, but he also had a very unspoken expectation that I would cook well and I would know how to cook a lot of things and I would like cooking and I would be just really gifted at it. Now neither of us knew that it might not pan out that way and it wasn't even on our radar to think about it. So there were times when I would make dinner and I would be so proud of it because I didn't grow up having to cook. My mom cooks everything and I wasn't taught how to cook stuff. Except for like pastry stuff. I can make cakes and frost stuff. I could do that, but I couldn't make like
super
meals.
Good at that.
Yeah, I couldn't make meals. Right. And so Seth would comment. He would say things. Again, he wasn't trying to be hurtful. Definitely the way you said things then probably was pretty hurtful. Just generally speaking, I would say you probably weren't very like nice about it or whatever. But again, it makes me think of this question because I don't think that this guy's doing this on purpose to be mean to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he genuinely is like, what the crap? Like, this is the thing I thought we had. And now what? Well, now, like, just like how Seth was when we would talk, when I would make a meal, he would say things that were like, why did you do that? As if I was like, oh, I can make steak tartare and like filet mignon. I can do all these things, but I'm going to choose to make you this dookie rice bowl that's cooked wrong
steak
anyway.
Steak
turd. I like it. And so I don't know. I just wanted to point that out that it's not helpful to say something diminishing on top of the way your wife probably already feels. She knows she's disappointing you. Just like I know I disappoint Seth when I cook almost anything.
Well, that's not true.
It's basically true.
That's a really good point. Most of us in relationships, like I say, being a therapist for almost 20 years and doing the show and stuff like that and talking to a lot of people over a lot of years, most people desire to do right, desire to do the best they can with what they've got. And a bunch of stuff gets in the way of that. So if this guy thought that he was, or me, right? If I knew that would really hurt your feelings, really disappoint you, really make you self-conscious of your cooking, if I knew that ahead of time, I am normal, not a psycho, and I would choose to not say those things. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, we don't know what we don't know. And if we know that something would hurt your feelings and say it anyway, then that's a whole nother
that's a
thing to talk about.
Ball of
then
worms
we can be
or wax or something or kettle of something.
Fish.
Kettle of worms.
Then we're getting into manipulative territory, some very self-centeredness, selfish behavior kind of stuff, which, okay, dude or lady, if you're doing that, cut that crap out. It's not going to get you what you want in the first place. And if you went, and here, gratitude, geez, I just stumbled over my words. Gratitude and showing thankfulness can do so much to change your mindset, to change your paradigm, and also it changes your partner's paradigm. If I am consistently not taking you for granted, thanking you
if you're
for things, thanking you for things, showing you appreciation, can you get too much of that? No. That changes your perception. It changes my perception. So when we have feelings like that, again, speaking only to myself, boom, go straight to gratitude. Oh man, okay. Kind of disappointed. Was all fired up, to have sex. But you know what? I literally had sex yesterday and the day before that. Man, you know what? I am thankful for that. I really appreciate that. So cool. A lot of people haven't had sex in a very long time. Married people. Understand what I'm saying?
And she even
but
says
that is not us.
Yeah, that generally speaking, your sex life is great. Like 2 people can say that in the world, and it's you guys. That was funny. I think that's something to really factor in. Like, what is the thing? Like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, you have a lot going on that's really good, it sounds like. And this one area sounds like it is a little bit of it rules you, the husband anyway, rather. It rules the husband a little bit more than he might want it to. And
it does not mean that you guys have the same perception of it. Now follow what I'm saying here. So if you're saying our sex life is great, I have great sex, I have the amount of sex that I want to have, it just so happens sometimes that's several times a day, it's definitely several times a week, awesome. My sex life is excellent. Now, if his or the partner's definition of a great sex life is not that, then that doesn't mean, okay, so say that I said, okay, hey, the perfect sex life, in my opinion, absolutely means sex every single day. Anything below that is subpar. It is not standard. It means we're falling off the rails. Things are going downhill. Absolutely. But that, just because you think it, doesn't mean it is objectively, universally, empirically true.
Right.
You are thinking, dude, sex life is great. I orgasm every time. This is great. Awesome. But my standard is way up here.
Right.
Oh, it's off of my standard. You think it's great. It's actually messed up.
Right.
No, that is so over here on our property, there is a lot of acres of big leaf maples, vine maples, alder,
cedars,
cedars, fir, spruce, tons of trees, right? Oh man, beautiful. Green, different colors, all this stuff. But if in front of that big patch of forest, it's like 5 acres. No, it's whatever. In front of that big patch of forest, everything else is healthy, great, functioning properly. There is just some ugly ass, gross, dead tree. Oh, those woods are messed up.
I hate those.
That
woods.
would be incorrect.
Right. Yeah.
That would be
5 acres
me
of
being
beauty,
in my feelings.
1 tree. Yeah.
I would be short-sighted. It may even be immature. All that stuff. And sometimes we need somebody to say, that forest is perfect.
Right.
You know what? That dying tree is normal. Living things die. That's just farther along in the process than the other trees.
Right.
That does not mean that's a healthy, functioning, working forest. There's deer, there's elk, there's coyotes, there's everything back there. Obviously, it's working. Understand what I'm saying?
Salamander.
So,
even.
obviously, your sex life is working, my guy. And so, don't let like one little thing ruin it.
I agree with that. You didn't hear what I said. There's also salamanders in the forest. I thought that was funny, and I wanted you to hear it.
There are.
They're really cute.
And axolotls.
Yeah. No, melanoids.
Oh.
Look them up. Look them up. They're hilarious. We found them this summer. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for it. And one thing I want to highlight is that becoming really clear on your definitions of what a good sex life is really, really helpful, because we see this with our clients all the time, that they're working off of 2 separate sheets, 2 separate models of what they think is the best version of a sex life or whatever, or even parenting or finances or whatever. And then over time, that incongruency spanned over years makes it really challenging down the line, especially with sex, because there's this expectation and like a sort of like a hidden pressure, I think, where especially if this husband makes his wife feel bad when she does not put out, then she's going to be way more obligated to do what? Put out, even if she doesn't want to. So then that dynamic over 4, 5, 14, 20 years, what do you think will happen with that dynamic? She's giving in, but
distance.
he's not actually like being more loving or kind. And so she's now at 14 years in or 20 years in, it's not neutral like it is now potentially. I mean, it's not neutral now, but it's a lot more complicated and again, usually it's the one who's unhappier that's manipulating things more that ends up even more unhappy over time. And then the other person just feels like taken advantage of and not appreciated and not, thanked or any of that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's this, it just is more polarizing, more hurtful, more bad over the time span. And so I think I love that you brought up the idea of like definitions of a great sex life really needing to be clear and clarified. But I really want to say to this guy, you need to find about 5 or 7 other strategies to feel connected to your spouse. And maybe lady, same way. I don't know. But you guys need to expand your connected horizon so that it's not only sex, right? And it does feel like maybe sex is a stress reliever. Like if it's being used as a stress reliever, there are a lot of other things that you can do. Meditation, right? Like there's a bunch of other stuff. And I don't know, I have like tons of thoughts about it. Like
Right.
Sex is like this explosion of chemicals. It's not just like your body. It's your body's doing that because of the chemicals that are generated from it. So, there's lots of things that you could do that may be more productive, but really at the end of the day, I want to encourage this growth now, meaning find other ways to support connection that are not sexual and really find great ones that feel really, really good to the two of you, because in 10 years from now, you never know if one of your kids goes haywire and some funky thing happens, or you need to take care of, there's a I was watching a show the other day where someone had to take in their goddaughter because the goddaughter's mom had passed and she was like 14. And I was just thinking about it. I was watching it with Hattie, and she's like, had never thought of that concept. And it seemed really foreign to her that someone would have to take someone's child and that the child happened to be an adult sized person. And think about that. If something like that happens in your life in 10 years and you can't have sex 100 times a week, is that going to crumble the foundation of your marriage?
Hopefully not. But how about this? Opposite of what you're saying. You don't need some huge intervention. Yes, all that stuff. Sure. If that resonates with them, awesome. Go do it. But I just want to really simplify it. Hey, don't share that with your wife.
Well,
just don't think that way. Sometimes it's not things that we add and find other ways and this and this and this. It's just taking away that one thing. Hey.
Well, I mean, I'm saying that I'm going to push back a little bit on that, because it sounds like if this person gets pissy when they can't have sex, that's a problem. That's a bigger problem.
Right. So I'm saying, hey, simply don't get pissy. You're having sex a ton of times.
I'm going to say, so I'm not trying to be unkind to the person who wrote this in or their spouse. Say that to a toddler when you take their pacifier away. Just stop being pissy about that, would you? It's a coping mechanism. It's a soothing strategy. It's a relational thing. You cannot just say, I've taken this thing away from you that you love. Don't cry, idiot.
Right.
But it doesn't work like that.
But listen, what I am saying, and I know you'll agree with this, sometimes the solution is much more simple than we think. Oh, okay. I want to lose 20 pounds.
Right.
Well, I got to get the shoes. I got to get the gear. I got to get the supplements. I got a meal plan for 5 weeks straight.
What is this
All
you
this
we're
stuff.
talking about?
No, it's not. Or
what Kachava?
Or
what greens?
Get up 30 minutes early and go take a walk.
In the shoes you already own.
One thing.
Right. And I guess I just want to caution that even if you zip your lip, but the thought is still rolling around in your head, that's going to be harmful to you. And probably if you do that without really having a process to navigate the emotions that brings up, your wife will probably suffer for it. That's my fear. Is like the cork it method might not work. It's great.
Stuff it method.
Stuff it method. I agree that it's wise to not say those things. It's probably better to not say, since you're not going to do what I want, you're an ugly beast.
Yeah.
Like, don't
just
say
take
that.
away that. Just don't say that and see what happens.
We're sort of mean to our listeners. We mock them all the time.
Sorry.
I apologize.
Sorry.
But I do hope that this is helpful.
Yeah, I hope it's helpful. Thank you for your question. This is awesome. If you guys want more episodes like this based on sex, based on intimacy, connection, and pleasure, go to patreon.com/anatomy of us to get more episodes like this. If you want any more information, just go to anatomyofus.com. Click on the coaching tab. If you want high performance marriage coaching, go to badasshusband.com. If you want to join a mastermind with other like-minded men, go to women's group coaching for a set of real ladies that does awesome stuff.
A set of real ladies.
That's a set of real ladies. And if you don't want to do any of that, but you like all we're saying, order the Power Couple Planner. $60, 1 year long. Plan out your life, plan out your marriage, be intentional. So thank you guys so much. We love you. Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Anatomy of Us. This podcast is produced by my mom, Melanie Studley, and hosted by my dad, Seth Studley. Our show is edited and published by our producer, Reva Hansen, from Creative Media Support. Special thanks to our Patreon members that get an extra episode every week. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.